in Sector Wars, play Astro Blaster.
If you destroy my baby,
Intruder alert. The intruder must not escape.
Dragon's Lair, the fantasy adventure where you become a valiant knight.
you will be destroyed soon.
Prepare to qualify.
Oh, warrior needs food badly.
Lead on, adventurer. Your quest awaits.
Hey folks, Crazy Climber 80 here again. And this time we're going to look at a game called P-47 Thunderbolt. This is also known as P-47 the Phantom Fighter. And this was created by a company called NMK and licensed to Jaleco in 1988. It is a horizontally scrolling shoot-'em-up. And it is set during World War II. And you control the titular fighter plane, the P-47 Thunderbolt. NMK stands for Nihon Maikom Kaihatsu. And this game is okay for 1988, really. It's kind of fun. The power-ups that you can collect are really quite limited. You can collect bombs, you can collect missiles, you can collect an explosive shell, and you can collect a two-way shot. You can also collect a speed up to increase the speed of your plane. I have never seen this in arcades. It's, like I said, it's fun, especially for 1988. It's not too bad. You can play one player or two player simultaneous play. You can crash into the ground, so don't let that happen. Early on, the game isn't super hard, but it will eventually veer into the territory of early bullet hell, at least. There are the locations. There are 8 different stages. You fly through North France. You fly through the air. You fly through North Africa. You fly over the sea. You fly through Ardennes. I'm not sure what that is. That's probably, I don't know, it looked like maybe it was Holland or Sweden or something. Maybe Norway, Egypt, and you fly during the winter time as well. There are 8 stages, and then after you beat the 8th, it just repeats. So you will see a letter from certain, there will be a slow-moving helicopter that you can shoot once in a while, and it will give you the power-up, and it'll be marked with a single letter. M is missiles, B is bombs, S is speed up, E is explosive shell, and T is two-way shot. You don't have a life meter. Run into any enemy, get shot by them, you're dead. You have, as far as I can tell, unlimited continues. I don't know that for sure. There I picked up explosive shell. Explosive shell is the strongest, I think. The weakest, I believe, is the bombs. But although the bombs are the weakest, I like them the most because you can shoot so many of them quickly, one after another. There will also be a one-up that you might be able to get from that slow-moving helicopter that grants the power-ups. There will be a boss fight. And here's the first boss. It's a train full of cannons. They're trying to shoot you down. Not too hard a boss. Just keep moving. Whoa! Oops. Sometimes there will be an airborne enemy joining the fight and causing you additional stress, like that bastard there. You are not timed for the boss fight per se, but if you do not destroy it in time, in a certain time, all it'll say is something like failed or incomplete. But if you do destroy him in time, then it just says completed. There's no penalty for not destroying him in time or whatever. And you get, after you beat the boss, then you can get bonuses of certain items, a certain amount of items, power-ups, that you collected during the stage, and you get a bonus for not dying during that stage. Right now I have the missiles. Yeah, the missile, it like scatters like, I think 6 or so missiles. You have, the thing I like most about this game is that you have rapid fire. Just hold down that fire button, you'll emit a steady stream of shots. And while you're holding down that fire button to shoot the rapid fire, you can tap with another finger the secondary weapon button. The secondary weapon button controls your missiles, bombs, explosive shell, and two-way shot. There was a sequel to this game called P-47 Aces. I have not seen any of the P-47 games. I think there might have been later P-47 sequels after that. Yeah, this game needed maybe a few more bells and whistles. Something that kind of annoys me is that some of the enemies will pop out from where you don't expect them to, and they'll be really fast. Well, there's another one up. Thank you. You cannot upgrade your secondary weapon. I mean, you can collect the icon. Oops. You can collect the icon twice, but it won't increase in strength of firepower. And with these missiles, you'll want to stay at the top right to avoid those, because they fly fast and they can hit you. You won't be ready. And this is the boss here, and he's kind of tough because he can shoot if you try to get below him, and he can shoot if you try to get behind him. This is where maybe the bombs would have really been a good idea. Yeah, I like the bombs best out of all the weapons. Even though they're really quite weak, they you can shoot so many one after the other real quick by repeatedly tapping the secondary weapon button. And there will be a lot of ground targets in this game. There, see, it just says time over. There's no penalty for that. At least not that I know of. Now we go over North Africa. Yeah, like I said, there's 8 stages, and then they just repeat. Some of the enemies are really starting to fly fast by now. Well, I don't know if you're into the Super Bowl, into the NFL playoffs. What? Oops! Guy surprised me from behind. What's your Super Bowl plans? Having a family over, or folks over, or something? What are you making for the Super Bowl? What kind of food are you gonna prepare? Are you gonna cook? Are you gonna order out? Be interested to see what you got planned. I'm gonna order a couple giant Godfather's pizzas, I think. Oops. Yeah, I think you get infinite continues, or unlimited continues. Just put in a credit. Pick up right where you left off. But I declined to do that right there, but I will show you snippets of the remaining stages. And get to put in your initials. That is P-47 Thunderbolt, also known as P-47 the Phantom Fighter, by NMK and licensed to Jaleco in 1988. We will look at me facing the boss of the stage where I left off. I'm no expert whatsoever on World War II, but I'm thinking that helicopters weren't very common in World War II, and we're seeing helicopters as the items that will, or as the enemies that will drop power-ups when you destroy them. And here you face a giant tank as the boss. By this point, I put on Invincibility cheat. If you're going to play this in MAME, and you don't want to see your plane flicker when it's invincible, go into the dip switches instead of the cheat menu. Go into the dip switches and select Invincibility there. You won't be flashing, but you'll be invincible. It just looks a little bit better. Here I've got missiles again. And here's the missiles flying up at an angle again. The only thing that you can increase its effectiveness with the power-ups is the speed up icon, the S. You'll be able to fly faster each time you pick it up. And now here's a battleship. I think it's on the Battleship Boss where there's a lot of enemies that it's hard to see where they are. And the battleship will scroll almost off the screen and then come back. And then you'll have another chance at the enemies that you were not able to destroy the first time around. But yeah, it's really hard. You have to look for their firepower to sometimes try to guess where they're at. And even then, it's hard to reach them sometimes. Yeah, this is where you really need to have those bombs. Scoot forward to me destroying him. There. Completed. I think they're more forgiving time-wise for that boss, the Battleship Boss, just because it's such a pain in the butt. And again, there's no real punishment for not destroying him in a timely manner. It just says incomplete. It doesn't really mean anything as far as I know. And then we fly above the clouds. Yeah, this game's alright. For 1988, they could certainly do worse. Better shoot 'em ups before and of course since, but for the NMK Jaleco game, maybe this is one of their best shooters. Ones that fit the more modern shoot 'em up trappings. Most shoot 'em ups were vertical, scrolling shoot 'em ups. This one's horizontal. I guess for that boss you have to survive all those smaller planes and then destroy a big plane to advance. And now we're over the Egyptian pyramids and the Sphinx. Never heard of this one in arcades. Only heard about it when MAME came along. This probably will show up on some Jaleco greatest hits type of compilation. I'd imagine that Exerion probably appeared on there as well. City Connection. There's a few decent Jaleco games out there. Many of which I probably have not seen in arcades. I do remember seeing Exerion and thinking that was a pretty fun game. He did manage to shoot that chopper. I thought he got off screen. Left me the E explosive shell. I don't know for sure if that's what it stands for, but that's what I'm going to go with. The shell will explode and scatter shrapnel pieces. Like I said, I think that's the strongest weapon is the explosive shell. Here I'm going to face this giant tank here. Completed. And now we go to, what is it? Anden? Can't quite read what it says. I don't know where that is. Never heard of it. But, here you've got a lot of ground targets, so the bomb is really good to have. And then there's just one more stage after this, I believe, and it is flying over the sea during the winter time. You'll see snow. Hope your 2020 is going well for you so far. I'm looking forward to having a renter move into my house. Pay me $500 a month. That's really a drop in the bucket. I have a pretty nice house. He's probably going to be very happy. He'll be closer to work. I actually work with him. He's nice and good. So look forward to me beating that tank. And yeah, this is the final level, stage 8. And after this is beaten, the game just restarts. You know, all the stages restart. The difficulty is much greater. The enemies will shoot more often. There might be faster enemies. Yeah, it gets very hard to avoid enemy shots by this point. And now we face another battleship. I really hate the battleship fights. It's just hard to tell where some of those cannons are, and they take so many bombs to be destroyed. And I think the music is kind of annoying on this stage during this battleship fight. But the game will start all the way over. That's a P-47, known as a P-47 Thunderbolt, and also known as P-47 the Phantom Fighter, created by NMK and licensed to Jaleco in 1988. Well, there's this crazy climber 80, and thanks for watching P-47 Thunderbolt, also known as P-47 the Phantom Fighter by NMK and Jaleco in 1988. Hope you have a good one. I'll see you later with my next video. Bye-bye, folks.